Hello. Today we are going to write odes. An ode is a kind of poem where you celebrate something that you really enjoy or that you're really excited about. Sometimes people like to write odes to their pets so they can tell everyone, the whole world, how amazing their pet is, all the things they love about them, and the way that they look, and everything that's so wonderful about them. Or maybe it's a favorite object, or maybe it's a favorite place that you love. It can be something kind of small or something silly, or maybe something that you think other people might think is silly, but it's not. So I'm going to give you an example of that. This poem was written by a very famous poet, Pablo Neruda, and he wrote an ode to his socks because his socks are really amazing. This is called Ode to My Socks. Maru Mori brought me a pair of socks which she knitted herself with her sheep herder's hands, 2 socks as soft as rabbits. I slipped my feet into them, as though into 2 cases knitted with threads of twilight and goatskin. Violent socks my feet were 2 fish made of wool, 2 long sharks sea blue, shot through by 1 golden thread, 2 immense blackbirds, 2 cannons. My feet were honored in this way by these heavenly socks. They were so handsome, for the first time my feet seemed to me unacceptable, like 2 decrepit firemen unworthy of that woven fire of those glowing socks. So I'm going to stay on this poem because I want you to notice all the similes and metaphors that Pablo Neruda uses in this poem. So odes can be a perfect type of poem to just pack in as many similes and metaphors as you possibly can. I want to start off near the top where he says 2 socks as soft as rabbits. That's a simile because he's saying it's as soft as a rabbit. If he said his socks were rabbits, that would be a metaphor. So he's comparing the softness of his socks to the softness of the fur of rabbits. And then he slips his feet into them as though they were 2 cases knitted with threads of twilight and goatskin. So he's comparing his socks to twilight. Can you imagine if your socks were made of twilight or of the sunset or the sunrise? That really paints a pretty picture. And so metaphors and similes can show us, your reader, how amazing this thing is that you're writing an ode to. Violent socks my feet were 2 fish made of wool, 2 long sharks sea blue, shot through by 1 golden thread, 2 immense blackbirds, 2 cannons my feet. So he's comparing his feet to a lot of things. These are all metaphors in here because he's saying his feet are 2 fish made of wool. And then he says his feet are sharks. And then he calls his feet blackbirds. And then he calls his feet cannons. And then he starts saying that his feet are unacceptable, like 2 decrepit firemen. So that's a simile because he uses the word like. So his feet are like 2 worn out firemen. That's what decrepit means, worn out and kind of falling apart. So his feet are unacceptable because these socks are so heavenly and golden and made of twilight. And so his feet kind of don't compare to how amazing these socks are. That's how much he loves these socks. So I want you to think of something you love that much so that you can compare it to the moon and the sun and the mountains and the wildflowers. Think of all the things that are so wonderful and beautiful and use them as similes and metaphors to compare this amazing thing that you want to celebrate and tell the world about how amazing it is. So think of your special object or a pet or a special place and then pack it filled with metaphors and similes, spilling over with metaphors and similes, so that we really know how special this thing is.